Today's program has been brought to you by TechServe. For more information, visit techserve.com.
We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, Snacky Tunes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Master. A lot of people are going like, when your next album coming out? You know, and I'm like, I don't know, you know. But a lot of people like, you know what I'm saying? You know how people in the record industry, you know how they always want you to be doing some stuff or whatever? You know, you be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that. A lot of that. They can't, you know, some people, they were like, what kind of music you want to make? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, I know what kind of music you make. And they why don't you tell us? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know. You know what I'm saying? But no, that was a long time ago. I got like oatmeal, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and it's delicious. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't like it. Some people don't like oatmeal. It's too bad. It's real good. Put some butter in there, some brown syrup, sugar, you know what I'm saying? Stir it up, it's just not too hot so you burn your tongue, not enjoy the rest of your breakfast. Regret it later, have a sore tongue for the rest of the week, hope that it heals, take some zinc. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I love music, that's why I'm here today. My record label, they told me to do some different kind of music or whatever, so I'm gonna do a little bit of different kind of music. And some of the music that I tried to be doing before was like different kinds of music, you know, like not the same kind of music. You know when you have music that's like the same, but then suddenly it's not the same anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like different kind of music, that's what I'm doing here. So anyways, check this out. This is a tune that they want me to do. It was like this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I ain't gonna do that. And I didn't. And then I did a tune that was like this. No thinking about it. Love is so sweet. All is in your something. And I was like, I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So I finally found a type of music that I like. This is music that black people make. This is called black people music. This is music called funk, R&B. So I hope you enjoy it. Even if you're not black, I think you might like it. So go like this. Now, sometimes you might need some accompaniment, so, you know, you might need someone like Mr. Vivino, for instance. There you go. Yeah, that's right. Oh. Yeah, yeah. And you might do something like this. Yeah, maybe some more real bass and real band, yeah. Some kind of love, girl, and sugar got me home and again the same thing. Sugar girl, love alone, isn't it? She a form that I can't beat. I don't know what you're doing. So right, you got me warm with the sugar, warm with the sugar, warm with the sugar, warm with the sugar, baby. And I don't know.
Welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm one half your host, Darin Bresnitz.
And I'm the other half your host, Greg Bresnitz.
And that might be the best opening we've ever had. That was Reggie Watts on Conan, black people music, talking about oatmeal, brown sugar.
I feel like we should do more live tracks because generally when people play in here, it's just the two of us applauding and it just sounds awful. No, there's nothing worse. The only thing worse than two people applauding is one person applauding.
I think last week you didn't applaud for 254 because you said it would be
So you heard how good that crowd sounded playing? This is what it sounds like. That's like almost insulting.
We had a sound effect button, but again, we've lost our privileges.
Yeah.
Welcome to Snacky Tunes. We are very excited. There it is. Thank you. Shout out to Jack and Joe holding it down in the producing booth.
Our food guests can't hear it because they don't have headphones, but it is raucous applause.
We're very excited to have the entire crew from Maharlika. Did I get that right? I got that right. Yes, nailed it. The best Filipino food, possibly the only Filipino food in all of New York City. Guys, welcome to Snacky Tunes.
Thank you for having us.
Getting real close to that mic. So why don't you introduce yourselves? Say who you are, what you do. We'll do it band style. Go around the horn.
I'm Miguel Trinidad, chef at Maharlika.
Nicole Ponseca, percussion.
Noel Cruz, 6-man.
Enzo Lim, I play the cowbell.
Nice. Well, welcome. We are having you in honor of two things. One, we just love your food, and two, because you're going to be hanging out with us June 30th at the barbecue blowout at City Winery. Tickets available.
Yeah.
Cinery.com. They are going fast, so get them soon.
Or FOTPNYC.com to find.
So let's talk a little bit about your history. You are one of the, I would say, few pop-up to brick-and-mortar success stories in New York City. I know that other cities have had more of the truck to brick-and-mortar, but not a lot in New York. Let's talk about where you got the idea to do a restaurant in the first place and what that transition was.
Well, to be honest with you, the idea sparked many years ago when Egg was at, I think it was Sparky's on North 5th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a hot dog
In the
stand.
hot dog place, yeah.
And they used to do breakfast, and I never forgot that idea. And when we couldn't find an investor, I was getting impatient. I didn't want to wait for money. So I approached a guy who had a French restaurant and wasn't open Saturday and Sunday. And just like Egg, I said, can we take it over just for the weekends? And it went from there. And really it was about getting Filipino food out there and our culture and not having to have excuses about service or style or ambiance. We wanted to just kill it. So
It's really interesting because, Mission Chinese started the same way and now they've expanded. What are some of the unforeseeable issues of having a restaurant inside of another restaurant?
Oh, other chefs? What?
I mean, was there ever Monday you get the call, be like, I'm pretty sure you used all my, and then they would list ingredients and food costs?
Yeah.
No matter how well sectioned off or documented it was?
No, it was a nightmare. And we did it at Leon, and we also did it at 5 9th. And there's issues with health department stuff. I mean, you name it.
Oh, they're that's not our issue. They didn't clean it up. Things
those aren't our mice. Okay.
they're not here on the weekends.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the biggest thing is when you have a restaurant and you have the ability to do something 7 days a week, that means 7 days of prep. When you're doing a pop-up, that means you don't have that time. So, for example, Chef Miguel, he didn't sleep for 3 days because he was doing the prep for 3 days and then would have to kill it on Saturday and Sunday. And it was just him in the kitchen in the beginning. We didn't know that we were going to get busy.
Were you working out of a commissary at all?
No, I was working out of my apartment.
Oh, totally legal stuff, right?
Completely legal.
But I mean, there's still not a ton of commissaries in New York, and this was even before that. So,
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about Filipino food, and let's lay the base. If you don't know what Filipino food is, what is it?
It is not dog. First of all, unlike Howard Stern,
That we
what
know
Howard
of.
Stern would say, we don't do Cocker Spaniel and Rye at this restaurant. But what I will tell you is that it's an honest attempt to fuse Spanish, Malaysian, Chinese, and our American influences when they came through the military, and then native food. So you have sweet coconut milk, a little bit of chilies, a lot of gisa, which means saute, great tropical foods.
and what is the penultimate dish?
It's tough to say. I mean, if you ask most Filipinos, they'll point to a dish called adobo, which you can find in many Latin cultures as well. And the difference being in Filipino cuisine, adobo consists of your meat or fish or whatever, but it's done in vinegar and typically soy, and then black pepper. You could add other things, but like such as bay leaf, but vinegar is the main component.
As a practical use for like when there's typhoons and there's no electricity, that stuff can lay down for like 2 weeks and you're still good. So
What's the spice range of the food?
How hot we get?
I think regionally there are, and I'll defer to Miguel, but there's not a lot of like heavy heat, like laden dishes. It's very, very localized in region.
if anything, the dishes tend to be like one-note dishes. So if a dish is like sweet, it has a heavy sweet note. And the idea is that in Philippines, we don't eat just one dish. There's like many dishes on the table. So you eat a little bit of sweet, a little bit of sour, and then, of course, all of our condiments.
That eggplant dish that you do?
The Pookie Pookie.
Yes.
It reminds me like Jewish liver a little bit. Like the texture and the taste and things like that. Blank looks around the room. I mean, it was... I'm just saying it reminded me of like Jewish liver, but it was a dish unto its own. Talk about that dish because I think it's one of the most popular at your restaurant.
It's one of the more popular dishes that we serve at Maharlika. It's roasted eggplant, and we roast it on a grill and puree it. Add some onions and tomato and some egg. So it's like a smoky baba ganoush.
So, yes.
Oh, can I say just one thing? So, Pookie, there's two meanings. In our restaurant, it's spelled with a Q-U-I, and it's Pookie Pookie. But if you say it in Tagalog with a K, it means pussy. So, I think our Pookie Pookie is the best you'll ever have. When you taste it, it's like amazing.
That's what I've heard. Very sweet. Little salty. Little fishy, too, but that's okay.
Like Jewish liver.
Yeah, like Jewish liver. So, everybody who comes to New York from a different country or a different area, whether it's inside America, outside America, Europe, that thinks that their regional cuisine is exciting and wants to make a restaurant, and you have done the same, but yours is actually stuck and won a ton of accolades. What makes it about Filipino cuisine that you think people have really embraced?
I think for our restaurant, it's that it's so unabashedly Filipino, like from our sense of humor on the menu to the use of spam and tang, and that we finally took modern approach to cooking Filipino food. So instead of these one-pot stews, that doesn't create great presentation and the vegetables kind of get like lost in translation, we really honor each ingredient. Truthfully, honestly, it's about honoring the Filipino culture and food.
What's a classic Filipino joke?
Yo, that's all you.
Cut me some slacks.
Cut me some slacks.
Hey man, why don't you cut me some slacks?
You're all right.
Horny, yeah.
All right.
That's a very...
Oh, is that literally like slacks? As
Cut
in...
me some slacks.
Oh, okay. All right, that joke is pretty tailored to you guys. We're gonna take a quick musical break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna tone it down a second. No, we're gonna talk about all the awesome, people who've been shouting you out, all the things, all the awards that you guys have won in just a short time, and anything else that we've missed, we'll figure out on the musical interlude. This is just another Japandroids song. Yeah, might as well just declare record of the summer, Japandroids. This is the Nights of Wine and Roses, and the shows next week are going to be amazing. Here you go on Snacky Tunes.
Man, I need a new computer. I guess I'm going to have to go to the Apple Store.
What? Don't go to the Apple Store. Go to TechServe.
What's TechServe? I thought Apple Store was the only choice.
No, you're crazy. TechServe is so much better than the Apple Store. They're New York's original and still the best Apple computer, iPod, and iPhone store and repair shop. Plus, the store is really cool. You gotta go check it out. They're located at 119 West 23rd Street.
Well, that settles it. I'm headed to TechServe.
TechServe is a proud sponsor of heritageradionetwork.org. For more information, visit techserve.com. That's TEKSERVE.com.
God, that song is so good. That whole album, Celebration Rock, Japan Droids. We're getting amped and eating pizza. We're here with the entire cast and crew, backstage personnel of Maharlika from East Village, and also in DeKalb Market, Brooklyn downtown. I went there for the first time 2 weeks ago. It was insane. I was like, oh, this is what's going to happen when civilization collapses. We'll all be living and working out of trailers and
Like we are
shipping
now.
containers. Yeah, just like now.
Our own personal favelas.
So let's talk about how you guys, in such a short time, have gotten a ton of accolades. Starting first with the New York Times calling you an empire in the making. What does something like that do for a restaurant like you or your brand?
Well, anything from when it's a positive, when anything positive comes from the New York Times, it's something to write home about, you know. So that was great to lend some credibility as far as from a food source, you know. Lagaya was so great in her review. We read it and we couldn't believe it. And then people come in from all walks of life that may not maybe even come to the East Village or may not be interested in Filipino food. We got a lot of different age demographics, so it was really great for the business.
And then Time Out New York, shout out to Jordana Rothman.
Jordana! I love her!
Who actually introduced me to you guys at the Time Out Awards when you guys won for Critics' Choice.
Yeah.
And I think she's the critic who
Love
made that
letter to the
choice.
Philippines, yeah. Best love letter to the Philippines.
What do you have to say about that type of thing? I mean, someone like Jordana who's highly respected and, you know, her opinion matters greatly in the food world, for her to put her stamp of approval on you guys?
Well, it means a great deal. It just shows that, you know, there's this sort of I guess organic or intimate bond that, you know, it's just develops between, you know, certain individuals or certain, you know, movements that it's just a joy to see. It's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing. And again, when you get an award like that, is the next day just busier and crazier?
You do see an immediate spike. Definitely, you see like tourists even coming in and holding the article with them and saying, "What's up?"
What, am I
but
here?
it was, what's that?
Am I here?
Yeah, is this it? Is this it? Yeah, it was definitely like that. But you know, when we set out to do this, we wanted to go big or go home. If we wanted to just open to ourselves, that would have been fine, but that wasn't it. It was to get Filipino food out there, finally. I mean, look, a lot of us in the Philippines, we speak English, we're educated, we come here, we're nurses, military, but why after all this time, we're just beginning to talk about it? So did I want to just open to Filipinos? Yes, but I also wanted to cross the food over. So that was huge. It was a big deal. Time Out in New York.
And
Definitely.
Huffington Post, right?
And Huffington Post named us New Cuisine for 2012. And then NBC just recently did a special on us, and the segment was pretty big with Ali Fedotowsky from The Bachelorette, and it was insane. She was cooking pig ears with Miguel, a Dominican chef, cooking Filipino food. I don't know. I give up. I don't care.
And you're going to be on the cooking channel for Unique Eats this Sunday?
Yeah, this Sunday at 10 p.m. we'll be on
Amazing.
Unique Eats.
Awesome. And can you say what the dish is?
Watch the hands.
Oh yes, Miguel actually has a hand double because it was his first time on TV and he sliced his finger. So you'll see dark skin, light skin, dark skin, light skin.
That's okay.
Yeah. But it's featuring Filipino food, our restaurant, and then 5 different chefs come in and then they taste it and they critique it. So
Amazing.
fingers crossed that they dug it.
I'm sure they did. I think just making it on the show, you get talked positively about.
Food porn.
Food porn. All food porn. Now, have you found any copycats starting to pop up with your rise in popularity?
I don't think necessarily copycats. I knew once we opened the door there were going to be other people that realized, you know, it's viable. So I wouldn't put my money where my mouth was if I didn't think that other people would say, let's do this. But Maharlika is different. The service, the style, it's like one big family house that you come in and eat. So other people will come and kudos to them, but Maharlika is Maharlika.
And it only supports what we're doing. The more players there are, the more it gets elevated into a more positive spotlight. And with all the recognition, we love it, but it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us really motivated. So
yeah, we're at Roberta's, and that's another pizza place. But Roberta's is what Roberta's brings, you know. So I'm down for the cause.
Down for the cause. What is the cause?
Filipino food.
So we're super excited for you guys coming out June 30th, the second annual Block Party Blowout. Talk to us about the dish that you're going to make.
Well, for the backyard blowout, we're doing a take on Filipino salad.
Okay.
So we're playing around with chayote, which is a summer squash, or pronounced sayote in the Philippines. Some grilled calamari and some frisee with a bagoong dressing.
Amazing.
Nice and light, refreshing.
What's bagoong?
Bagoong is fermented shrimp paste.
Oh man, I don't know if I can.
Little
eat-
funk.
Fuck.
Little funk for you.
Fuck.
We're allergic to shrimp and crab and lobster.
We can do
So yeah, we'll do put it on the side for you.
You guys, no, who's better than you guys? Nobody.
You?
Nobody.
Nobody. Well, that's great. Well, I can't thank you enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I forget, one thing that I also love about you guys is your amazing cocktail program. And the last time I was there, I sat at the bar and Enzo got me. He got me going.
Delicious rye drink.
Delicious rye drink.
Little pineapple.
Yeah, it was. Talk to me about the bar program and what Filipino drinks are like.
Well, if you go to the Philippines and you go to any bar, there's basically a list, and it starts in A, ends in Z, from what is it, like an Alabama Slammer to the Zombie, and they're all just sort of like bastardized versions of the actual real cocktail. So, what we wanted to do is at Maharlika is take fresh ingredients as well as ingredients that are native to the Philippines. And into history, such as ginger, with like ginger tea, strawberries and blueberries, things like that, and take them and present it in a more current format based on classic cocktails. But besides that, we also want to be able to honor and the tradition of bartending, which is being able to customize whatever your customer needs.
Also, the names of the drinks are all named after like our famous actors and actresses, which some of them would be the equivalent of the cast of Cannonball Run, like our Lonnie Andersons and Burt Reynolds, and then a few A-listers put in there too. But it's really great when they come into the restaurant. These like Dom DeLuise of the Philippines come in and they get to see their name on a cocktail. It makes me proud because it was the way I could connect to pop culture was through movies in the Philippines when I was growing up.
Now, the one thing that isn't Filipino in the restaurant is the music you play. Because I was in there and it was like house music and dance music, things like that. Do you ever get down with the Filipino soundtrack, or is it just whatever flavor of the day?
We typically play music that would sometimes air in like Philippine malls, so we stick to like sometimes mostly 80s classics.
Yeah, stuff that we grew up with, basically. Yeah.
So things that you'd find on the best of karaoke list is typically what we play.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. What are the nuts and bolts? Twitter, location, website?
At Maharlika NYC.
You want to spell that?
MAHARLIKA NYC. Same website, maharlikanyc.com, and Instagram and all that.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We're going to hang out with you on the 30th. What?
I gotta make an announcement.
Okay, well, I'm going to shout out Jenny and Ava and Lars out in Sweden.
Okay.
You listen to Snacky Tunes? Jenny's his girlfriend. For the long-time listeners, people know Jenny's his girlfriend. So, but before we get to the musical break and bring Reggie on, I want to talk about Reggie. Happening this month in Copenhagen is the 2012 Foodball Chef Soccer Tournament. It's the fifth one, and Scandinavia's top chefs and restaurants raise funds with a 5-a-side soccer tournament and spectacular raffle. We'll post this up on the Heritage Radio site, but you can win tickets to Dinner for Two to Noma, Relay, Bloom in the Park, Unami, and a bunch of other places, and all the profits go to Action Against Hunger. So this is pretty awesome, and we're really excited. Our friend Daniel is putting it on, so if you just go to actionagainsthunger.org and search for Food Ball, you will be able to find it. Awesome, and here we go. We got another great Reggie track on vocals, still going, Spaghetti Circus.
Wanna make it, wanna feel so real. Wanna make you, wanna feel so real. Just give it a go now, yeah. You drive me crazy.
Yes, everything is going to be all right tonight. Still going, who is, I guess, stop going. Spaghetti Circus. We are live in studio with the amazing master of comedy, music, and now television, Reggie Watts. Welcome to Snacky Tunes.
Snacky, welcome. Hello.
We have been, I think we started trying to get you set this up last summer.
No, I think when you were working at EMP. All those years.
Oh, electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah. Reggie and I actually met during my first event internship ever when I was nothing. My first job was literally in...
You say when you were nothing?
Yeah. Well, you know.
So dark.
Hey, let's get real. My first job was to take you to dinner at the Experience Music Project.
Oh, I remember that.
And
hey, did you get lucky?
I did not get lucky, but you were up there for. It was when they turned the EMP, which Experience Music Project, over to the city. Paul Allen was like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And then all of the funding was cut, and then you were there for that children series that Danny Bland set up.
That's right.
You made children music, and I remember seeing. I was like, wait, what is this guy doing? And he's, like, you know what I mean? You showed up with a very similar setup, and I was like,
probably just this.
Yeah, and I was like, I think this kid's gonna make it. and then when we moved into our loft, you were staying at our neighbor's house, Jen Dunlap.
Oh my god, yeah, Fun Lap.
Your stuff was there. Oh, Fun Lap.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fun Lap and her Force Lap.
So I'm kind of curious. I mean, what is your setup? I mean, just to take people through, because it's so minimal and you do so much with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that I've been rocking for a long time is this Line 6 DL4, and they Line 6 came up with this pedal to be a delay echo modeler. So if you move the dials in certain positions according to the manual, like, you know, there's like 4 dials, so if you move them in the positions that are listed on the manual, it would imitate an Echoplex from 1974. Then you move the dials a little bit, you're like a digital delay from 1986 or something from 1994 or whatever. And so that's what it was for, but it had a looping function on it, and I never use any of the other delay effects. I just use the looping function, but it was awesome. It's built like a tank, and I started using it in probably 1997.
Is this the same one?
No. Actually, you know what's funny is my original one is in EMP. It's in the museum.
Wow. Really?
In EMP, yeah, and my original telephone microphone too that I used.
Oh, I love those telephone microphones.
Yeah, but I always sang out of the hearing part, not the speaking part.
Irony.
I know.
Irony.
And ebony.
So how did you develop your style? We have about 3 minutes for you to answer that question.
Okay, it's really easy.
Now if you slow that down and play it in reverse
on the podcast.
Buy our secret reversal podcast application. No, so basically I don't know. It was just I like a lot of different types of music, and I would imitate music. All my life I would do mouth noises and imitate different styles of music, and then I lived with 2 DJs. Brandy Westmore was a good friend of mine who's a badass DJ, and Rebecca West, and they would play techno and minimal house all day long. So I'd go to bed. It was like 3 rooms. It was like kind of like a weird Three's Company type of situation. But I would go to bed listening to, and then I'd wake up in the morning. So it was like constantly all day long I was exposed to it, but I loved it, and I loved dancing too. I was a huge drum and bass head. I just loved every type of electronic music conceivable, and also traditional forms, jazz and stuff like that. So basically I wanted a way to channel all of that improvisationally, and hopefully have people not be annoyed with that.
And when did you start mixing comedy in?
The comedy is something I've always done all my life. I've been a class clown, and I would be involved in drama events like public school plays and things like that. And I would be on the playground messing with kids and doing dumb jokes and playing pranks on people. So it was like something that I'd always done, and so it wasn't really a thought of adding it. It's just it was unavoidable.
Just like time between the songs, like what am I gonna do?
Yeah, it's just to me it's just funny to I love the idea of someone who's good at something throwing it away.
Right.
I've always I loved someone watching a track star totally come out first by a second and then go hey guys, what's good? There's just something really, I don't know, I love that transition and that juxtapiposition.
What do you call this, a song, I mean, what are we going to hear?
This is an improvised song. I'm using a new piece of technology. I'm debuting it.
Boom. Snacky Tunes exclusive.
It's a micro synthesizer which I've been dreaming about for years, made by a Swedish company called Teenage Engineering, and it's called an OP1, and it samples. It does everything.
It looks like it's a thing from the Swedish House Mafia video.
Yeah,
very similar.
It could
to
be.
one.
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very sexy dream. All right, here we go. Reggie Watts live on Snacky Tunes.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try doing this. This may sound crappy, guys, so don't worry about who you are as an individual. Just think of yourself collectively. Okay. And we're going to move over here. Okay. That's good. Let's check this level over here. Check 1 2 1 2. Oh, that sounds great. Stand by. Moving volume up. Check 1 2. Okay, here we go.
much you want this piece of pizza. It's left over from the years gone by. Jot it down several times, several times, several times.
Wow. I mean,
Oh wow.
You're like, I mean,
you are working so hard. You're really manipulating the sound, the shit out of sound, if you will.
yeah, I'm doing a lot of noodling.
A lot of noodling.
a lot of-
But you're one of the noodlers that I actually enjoy watching.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I think it was my friend Beardy, man, who's another amazing beatbox improviser guy, and he calls it live production. Yeah, and that it really is what it is.
How many steps ahead are you thinking? Or do you not? It's denied that just like it just happens.
I mean, it kind of just happens. It's more like as soon as I hear the sound, I just start responding to it. So, I mean, I don't know this keyboard very well yet. So when I put up a drum sound, I don't know which kit it is. So like I'll hit it, and I'll be like, well, I guess that's what I'm working with, and then that'll feel like a style of music, and I just go for it.
And I feel like your shows are a mix of playing, because there are bits that I pick out from times I've seen you before or from your albums. But there's times when it just feels it's totally improv. What is it, a mix of that, or is it more planned out for your performances?
Well, on Why Shit So Crazy, some of the songs were studio songs, but they were still improvised.
Right.
So I just added track. It was just like a studio version of what I did, with the luxury of actually stopping and editing something once in a while. But yeah, all of the songs are improvised. I just like the idea of being able to generate a song that sounds completely written. In the moment, and something I've been practicing for ever, but I practice it live because I can't be bothered at home.
But I mean, so someone who is like, man, I really love that. That's it, right? There's never going to get a chance that they'll ever see something again.
Probably not, unless it's recorded and someone's like, hey, let's make a track out of that. But that hasn't happened
There are
yet.
definitely moments where I've seen you. I think the last time I saw, there was one section at BEMP from last year. I went, shit, I'm never going to hear this again. But it makes you really be in the moment of your show.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've gotten used to just throwing away stuff. Like sometimes there'll be magic moments. I mean, this happened when I was in Seattle. There was a group of musicians that all knew each other, and we would have these jam nights. And my suggestion to the group was that let's try to make songs that sound like they're written instead of just jamming ad hoc, like Fish style or whatever, just noodling all over the place. Like, let's just focus on a part that you like and remember it and come back to it later as a verse, and then create a chorus, and I'll remember the melody of the chorus, and we'll do a C section, and then we'll come back and we'll end it around like between 5 and 7 minutes. And so we used to practice that all the time. So I was thinking compositionally, improvisationally.
That's amazing. Let's talk about the new show, Comedy Bang Bang.
Uh-oh.
And the most important question I think we all have, what's it like seeing your face all over the subway?
I haven't seen that yet. And yeah. I know. No. Well, sorry guys, I don't ride with the people.
So all the people, the normies,
the normies,
be seeing your face on subway billboards everywhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of friends have been sending me pictures. The reason why I haven't seen this, I liked riding the subway, but I just haven't been in New York. This is actually my first week in New York.
Thank you for gracing us with your
There's no problem, guys. How about some bubbly?
I do believe you arrived in the north side.
I did arrive in the north side. You know what? But what's really dumb is that my management's not dumb, but they'll book me cars, but sometimes I don't realize how close something is. So sometimes I'll jump in the car and they'll be like, "Where are you going?" And then I look on the map and I'm like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
I mean, I could have ridden my bike here.
But it's one of those things that we when we are doing bookings on things, it's like when it's something that becomes like where we tried to book you for a while, they're like, "We need a car." We're like, "Fine." We need a car home. Fine. We need this. It's like, fine. It's like, whatever. No, I'm saying like, whatever small roadblock it takes just to remove those roadblocks.
Yeah.
Just to get you here.
You had a decent ride over.
Oh, it was awesome. The guy wasn't very friendly. I think it's
No,
because he
he's
waited a while. He had to wait a while, and that tends to happen. with me.
Let's talk about the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about for those. I've seen the
Bong
Amy
Bong.
Poehler episode.
Yes,
and new episodes are coming out.
That's correct.
And how was it? How did it come about?
You mean how did the episode or the show or me
Whatever you
involved
want.
in the show?
Pick the most interesting point.
I'll give you the condensed the evolution. So Scott Aukerman of Mr. Show fame and Between Two Ferns fame and other fames, but those are the most interesting points along the road that people would know. But he started a show called Comedy Death Ray. Comedy Death Ray started as a show where they would have a lot of great comedians be a part of a lineup, and then that turned into a podcast. That podcast became really popular. The show became popular at UCB in LA, and then I started doing the show UCB LA, but I started at SINT, which was See You Next Tuesday, which was like the show that you do before you're accepted to the show.
Oh yeah, so
it's
like
Comedy
Farm
Death Ray.
Team.
What's that?
Farm Team?
Yeah, basically.
Little minor
It was
leagues.
like, hey, let's take a look and see what we got here under the rocks. But and then I got invited to do that, which was a huge honor, and I started doing that. And then he asked me to do his theme song. I did a theme song. And then he changed the name to Comedy Bang Bang, and I had to do a new theme song. And
Amazing.
then IFC was like really... they got a new kind of basically new structuring for their leadership, and a guy named Dan Pasternak was a big fan of what I was doing, and he was also a huge fan of Scott. So he approached Scott and said, "Hey, can you take your podcast and make a visual version?" And I'm sure Scott was already thinking that, so
Right.
the two minds met, and then they were like, "Oh, how about Reggie as like a musical sidekick kind of guest dude?" And then suddenly IFC was backing this program, and he was able to call in all those favors from all those years and get like all these amazing
No, the
comedians.
talent lineup is
guest list.
incredible.
I mean, the
Yeah.
making music segment is like, really? You got all those people to come and do it?
It's crazy because those people were not informed, I don't think, of what they were doing. So they would be on set, and some they'd be like, "Excuse me, Amy, would you be interested in doing a little kind of musical thing with Reggie?" And then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
why not?" They don't know what they're going to do.
You're gonna back me in a corner like this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Basically.
absolutely. Yeah.
Basically.
Weird Al was on, or he's coming on up.
Weird Al, yeah.
How was that working with Weird Al?
Weird Al's amazing. I mean, he's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Really? Direct influence?
Well, the parody song stuff. I just remember when I was a kid and I was really into Michael Jackson, and suddenly,
Fat.
or I mean, not clean. I always say clean it because that was my response to
Eat
his
It?
response. Eat it, yeah.
Yes.
So Eat It came out, and I was like, oh, the video looks really similar. They've got similar jackets and clothing, and it's the choreography, but it's funny. And I was really big into parodies, and so that and Michael Winslow. Those were like my two kind of forays into comedic.
You might be the only
songsmanship.
person who has Weird Al Yankovic and Michael Winslow as direct influences, and it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, completely. I mean, but he was great. It was an honor to meet him, and on that same episode was Tenacious D.
Oh yeah.
So it was like in the same room with all of those guys. It was heavy.
I mean, they really did pull out all the stops for guests.
Man,
How many episodes did you shoot?
10.
And like you just like, let's just get all 10 in there.
Yeah, I mean, they rocked everybody. They were going to have a bunch more guests, but some of the guests were just unavailable. They wanted to do it, but
hopefully,
Season 2.
Season 2.
we'll see.
Let's do another song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about food.
All right, let's do another song.
Okay.
This is a song that I did a long time ago. And this is about people who have a difficult time adjusting to where they could go and where they could be. So, without further ado, I think I would like to take a chance to do this.
Hey. Yeah, what's up? I was just wondering, could you come? Yeah, please turn off the reverb. Okay, here we go. try to make it all work all night long, yeah. But if I do the worst and make things better, isn't the negative just as important as positivity? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You wanna take anything, just don't know, yeah. You wanna take anything, just don't know, yeah. You wanna take anything, don't know, yeah. You wanna take anything, don't know, yeah. Oh, everyone stand along your line. Worry about the end of the never know, yeah. And one word can change another time, yeah. But if you get tired of the answer, I did what it was saying. And it was trying to be your friend, yeah. But now it's you want, and then it was trying to be your friend. I wanna be there. I wanna be there. Yes, I wanna be there. Yo, sometimes times get tough. Eating pizza, but you never get enough. Calzone sitting on a plate with a knife. What you gonna do when you get married, your wife? She always staring at you with those googly eyes. But never would you do it if you had to despise who you was in the first place. Listen, you gotta learn to accept the grace of the beauty of the witty and the do anything that you see. You gotta put yourself down on one knee and tell yourself what you really doing this for. Is it societal pressure, whatever, you a whore? Listen, I got this up on the switch. You gotta do anything that you can do, bitch. Cause you're using words just cause they sound and make you feel tough and shit. But you would never do this. Yo, yeah, come on. Yeah, put the radio, yeah, internet radio, internet radio. What you gonna, what? You wanna take anything, don't know, yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Thanks, all you guys.
Yeah, we just brought all of Roberta's in here. There's 1,000 people in here.
You get like little contact mics on all the tables in the restaurant with an applause sign.
Man, that is just staggering to watch.
So, you're a man who seems like he enjoys life. What would you say that is your normal choice of food and beverage, both here and on the road?
Beverages, I think on the road, I mean, in an ideal world, it would be salads, a lot of salads. My friend last night, Danielle Florio of Whisk and Ladle, she
I love Danielle.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she made this incredible salad that was just, I think it was arugula, maybe a couple other greens, some really amazing goat, like a chèvre. Yeah, some chèvre. And a sesame oil dressing and some kind of a root thing, like a pumpkin of some sort. And the mixture of it was completely... It didn't taste like Northern American, and it didn't taste European. It didn't taste Asian. It was like this crazy, weird, like, I don't know, amazing flavor, and we couldn't stop eating it. And there was also a little bit of, I think, quinoa in it as well. It was amazing.
Quinoa.
Just a sprinkling.
But
yeah, I like salads, and I really like I like health foods mostly. Just anything that's like clean, like a clean piece of protein, nice fish, or nice piece of chicken on occasion.
Do you find time to cook, or are you too busy?
You know, I used to cook, and I used to cook all the time, but I haven't done so in probably 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 15?
15 years.
Fitting. Fitting.
Has your oven and things like that turned to a storage space, things like that?
I should, actually. Thanks for suggesting that.
Helpful. Snacky Tunes helpful hints. When you're not cooking, turn it into a storage space. One last thing I want to ask you before we make sure we have time for this thing is you were in the Hot Chip video.
Yes.
How did that come about?
That was well, Peter Serafinowicz. He directed. I think it was a second video or third video, but
wait, the new Hot Chip video?
Yeah. He. I became friends with Serafinowicz through a guy named Mr. Hopkinson, who does really interesting things. You check him out. He's from Bristol, and this genius AV guy. And he he introduced me to Peter Serafinowicz. I fell in love with the Peter Serafinowicz show, which I was watching on the internet all the time, and it was just killing me. And then I got the chance to actually meet him through his brother, and my manager knows his brother. And
want to shout out your manager,
James? Yeah, hey, Olivia Wingate. Olivia, wherever you are, here you is.
And shout out to Sheila for setting this all up too.
Oh yeah, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila.
Sheila is the human. Yeah, she's incredible. And she's in Austin, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Austin doing some projects. So one thing led to another, and I got to meet Peter, and he came to a show, and then we just kept in contact with one another, and he's a total absolute genius, and it's an honor to work with him. And he's like, hey man, you want to be in this Hot Chip video? I was like, I guess, I don't know. And he's like, Terrence Stamp might be in it, and I was like, Terrence, you mean Zod from the Superman movie? And so I did a remote shoot in New York. Had like a little space of time, and I went to the studio and shot this little scene, and then he put it together really quickly. And I think it's an awesome video. I love it.
I think it's awesome. The dancing it's night and day. It's
incredible.
It's really good. The whole record is actually...
The whole record's great.
Flutes has like been on repeat for... Yeah. That's a track.
They're amazing.
Prolific. I was listening.
But you always know what you can get with their records. You're going to get like a few ballads.
Yep.
And then jams. And like you just know...
I love how they do ballads. You do some ballads too.
I do ballads. Yeah, I like ballads.
Is the art of the power ballad still alive?
The power ballad for me sounds like something that you kind of have to use it in a funny way. Ballads are good. They're good, but most of the time, if you're playing on the piano, I always defer to comedy just because it harkens.
Is it a wall? Is it a protective wall?
It's a protective firewall. It's a social firewall.
So, last question before we get your nuts and bolts and one last song. Dream collaboration, Alive.
I love that band. Dream collaboration. The album Alive is amazing. No, I don't know. I'm a big Imogen Heap fan, but it would be interesting to work with Tune Yards. I don't know what I've never met her.
That would actually be really.
That would be.
Yeah.
Wait, it's like dueling looping. It's like the modern version of dueling banjos
with guests by Owen Pallett. You could have all.
Who's Owen Pallett?
Final Fantasy.
Oh, he does that cat.
He does all the footwork with the violin. It's essentially the same thing. So the three of you in a room together.
It could be great, but it's also one of those things where you're like, if we get people who are good at what they do in one room, it doesn't necessarily mean it's
I
think she would be. She seems improvisational even though she's structured, but she's great. I would love to work with. I don't know. Great.
That would be amazing,
too.
actually.
Yeah, I would. Matthew Hammerline's another great looping artist guy.
Is there anybody that you would like to make music for and them do guest vocals for you?
Oh man, I would love to produce a track. I love St. Vincent's voice is great, but she's kind of got it covered.
Dude, she has that new record coming out with David Byrne. Like that's kind of just like the crowning achievement, right?
Well, she's our new. She would hate me saying this, but I think it's a huge compliment. She's our generation's Kate Bush. Like
how would you hate that?
I don't know. People hate being compared to other people.
I'm my own person.
Yeah, of course, and she is completely 100%. She's not Kate Bush, but she has the effect. She because I often look for those icons in current. I'm like, well, who would be the equivalent of Jimi Hendrix, and who would be the equivalent of Fleetwood Mac? And unfortunately, only about 10% of those old equivalents exist today as a new form.
That's fair. All right. Well, thank you for joining.
Who are you the new of?
I'm probably I'm probably the new Antonio Banderas.
Of course.
That's what I'm guessing.
All right. Well, we want to thank you. What's people want to follow you, find out about shows, watch the new TV show? Where's all this?
ReggieWatts.com is one place. Twitter is where I announce a lot of shows. So Twitter is just at Reggie Watts, and Instagram is at Reggie Watts, or Reggie Watts, however that's structured.
What's your Instagram feed like? What are we talking about?
It's like my Tumblr feed, which is situationist.tumblr.com, but it's kind of taken over because it's much easier to put. But I just take pictures of things and I never put captions.
Oh, interpretation.
Yeah, I like the idea of people just seeing the image for the image, and then maybe they'll figure it out.
Awesome. All right, well, we want to thank you. We're going to have one last song. Maharlika, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you guys want more pizza, well, I'm taking it home. I don't know. I'll probably take
June
it home.
30th, barbecue at City Winery. Go to citywinery.com or FOTPNYC.com for tickets. Tons of announcements coming up in the next weeks, and then the Snacky Tunes live.
Tons of announcements.
Tons. Thousands.
I don't even know what we're doing.
And then Snacky Tunes Live Volume 2 comes out
and
June 26th.
And we're DJing the Northside, shout out to all of them, closing party at Nighthawk on Thursday night. So get your tickets now.
Nighthawk.
You might be able to actually meet us in person.
But you probably won't want to.
Yeah, you probably won't.
That's how dark it gets.
Yeah.
Guys, their voices match how good looking they are.
Yeah, but the covers don't match the drapes.
Oh. You're talking about your armpit hair, aren't you? Huh?
Here we go. Reggie Watts live on Snacky Tunes.
Yeah, got up in the morning, yo, had to brush my teeth and shit, yo, had to do a lot of shit, know what I'm saying? That's how we do this, yo, this ain't LA, yo, some people think New York is just like LA, but they wrong and shit, cause the topography is totally different, the geography, the weather systems, the microclimates are totally different, there's a huge influx of different types of people and shit, know what I'm saying? So anybody who thinks that LA is exactly like New York, or New York's exactly like LA, those motherfuckers are just wrong and shit, know what I'm saying? And that's a huge thing, they're talking about it on CNN and shit, deal with this shit, know what I'm saying? Yo.
Everything's that bad in New York, and in New York City, we're jumping in New York City, New York City.
Yo, I didn't grow up in New York, but I watched Taxi a lot, and that basically gave me everything I need to know about New York and shit. That melancholy theme song with that taxi going over that bridge, yo, that's everything, man. That's New York, know what I'm saying? Yo, New York is a confluence of different events. Most people can never even claim that they even lived here and shit, but that's okay. That's just the nature of New York. You think the Native Americans think that the locals are local? Think again, motherfucker. Yo, Fischl all Ulflassen achterslöv Mitromak flext alle komstländer allikan Ukra Fistan ukra teslövom steklefan Fre Topotepeka topok brantam setlava Ustoklem banden Hej hej då Tack så mycket Frukomnit Chalatsinu Brakisa Yeah One stain och kwana fin och fan fest Och de brakin då lisonando obrigato motherfucker Man and Jimmy Carville's in New York City. What you gonna do when they call your names? Gonna do some stuff like you're in New York City. New York, 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 New York. Yeah, come on. You feel that? Yo, get it. Come on. Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York, New York City, City, 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 Brook, 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 Brooklyn, 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 Brook, 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 Brook.
There's more to New York City than Brooklyn. I know that and stuff, but if you say Brooklyn, it automatically unifies people in a very strange way. Even if they live in Queens and stuff, or maybe the East Village, or maybe the West Village, there's no point in going anywhere above 14th Street. Yo, getting across the city is really tough, but if you live in the kind of area that has a crosstown line, you're really lucky and shit. Know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to go up there, but they have to because business is up there and shit. Know what I'm saying? Yo, when my Soho's really weird because I don't know how to navigate. Soho hangers. Lots of thin, tall people walking around. Apple stores, what the fuck they doing them clowns? Gotta get some pistachios at a market that's overpriced and shit. Come on, let's do this. Yo, you ever been to that one place? No, I never been to that one place. Do you know about that other place? I don't know about that other place. Do you know that new place? I don't know about the new place. Did you hear about the place that's about to open? Yeah. Did you hear about the place that's gonna close? Yeah. Did you hear about that one place? It doesn't matter. It's a bunch of Brooklyn, New York City, 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 Brooklyn.
Thanks for listening to this program on the Heritage Radio Network. You can find all of our archived programs on heritageradionetwork.com, as well as a schedule of upcoming live shows. You can also podcast all of our programs on iTunes by searching Heritage Radio Network in the iTunes Store. You can find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for up-to-date news and information. Thanks for listening.